All right. Welcome to today's episode of Zesty, the podcast where we talk about food in an attempt to get away from the dismal reality that is the 2020s. How are you, Magnus?
I've been fine. What about you?
I've been good, It's been a long-ass winter. And that's why today's subject, I thought, was going to be a little discussion on brunch. Because, nice thing in Sweden, in Scandinavia in general, is that when the sun starts peeking out, everybody is basically like a vampire that has been sucked out of its blood for the whole winter. So the second the sun comes out, people are crazy. People want to sit outside. It's not that warm at all. But the point is, you got to see the sun. And that's when people get super hyped about sitting in those like outdoor terraces. Everything opens up so that you can actually sit and just enjoy a nice meal, a nice glass of something delicious. It's a little bit different where you are.
Yeah, it's fine. Yesterday I went to a cafe and we had some tea. It was a really good tea. It was very I chose flowery tea because I've been really into flowery really into rose kind of stuff. So I also got this Greek delicacy. I don't remember the name, but those little thing that is rose flavored.
Oh yeah, those little sweets you mean. The lukum.
Yes, and they're covered in powdered sugar.
Oh, I love those.
Lukumi. Let me go see the name.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is in Greek, but those are delicious. It's a Turkish kind of thing. Well, don't quote me on that because I'm going to start the third world. Lukums, yeah. Yeah, you say that in French as well, actually. Lukum.
Oh, the mic is here. What am I doing? Lukumus.
Yes.
Lukumus, that's the name. My Greek roommate says that too. It's just yeah. It's Turkish, but we claim that it's Greek.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Right. We were speaking about this intercultural thing the other episode. It's totally that way. It's so funny. Whenever you go out, there's always some fusion, let's say.
Yeah, there's always a story, there's always a claim. But I mean, as long as they keep making it and that it keeps thriving, then hey.
100%. Cute. So you're able to start getting undressed over in Athens as well?
Yeah, I don't do it. I still wear my winter clothes because it's I prefer being warmer than colder.
Oh, you're such a Scandi.
Yeah, but come on.
Here, the people are insane. I saw people in t-shirts. I saw people in shorts showing the skin. But
bro,
it's cold.
Yesterday at the club, this was the same when people were outside smoking because we had to go outside in the street to smoke because there was no smoking area. And for some reason, they took the anti-smoking thing very seriously to be a club.
Yeah.
And so we were all standing outside and people were shivering, because they're dressed up for the club and they think that it's going to be better outside or that they're a little bit undressed or shit like that.
Yeah.
I wore a sweater because I came prepared, but still,
Norwegian.
I don't have any body fat, so I don't have anything to protect me. And this, so I can't really...
Right.
I can't really, I'm freezing out there pretending. But let me tell you, when I had that tea, though, that rose flowery tea that was the best thing to have in this weather. Just a cup of tea, because I felt... Coffee sometimes gets really bitter and very grub.
Yeah, because we should talk about it. I don't know how often you go to brunch, but I'm definitely a coffee person. It's very rare that I go out somewhere and get myself a tea.
Yeah, me neither. I don't drink tea at home.
Really?
I don't drink tea at home.
Oh.
I have 3 cups of coffee a day. Okay? No more, no less. This is This is a part of being sober. You get these sort of things that you do. You can, that's how I did it. And one of those were okay, 3 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah.
No more, less, sure, but never happens. And so I had my 3 cups already and we were going to this cafe, which was very new. I don't know, very fresh, very
hipster.
Yeah, a little bit hipster, a little bit nice, a little bit they-themy, It was the complete vibe. Yeah, I was just I can't have another cup of coffee, but they had a whole menu of tea and I tried it and it was perfect in a way. But I think I was always expecting something more of an effect. Like you get an effect out of coffee, right? You get a little bit of a kick in a way.
What, you feel it?
So there's a purpose. You don't feel it when you drink coffee?
No, I just enjoy the flavor. You know, when I get my first sip of coffee...
Then it's not strong enough.
Trust me, I was in Greece, the Freddo espresso, no sugar, schietto kind of girl. I don't know if you take sugar and milk in your coffee, but I drink it black, like the night.
Yeah, me too.
And sometimes double, triple shot. You know, I'm that kind of girl. Like anytime I would pull up my order at the coffee shop in Greece, they were looking at me like, what? Because apparently people who order Freddo espresso schietto, no sugar, is... yeah, like, you know, workers, construction workers, or like legit people who, you know, need it.
For real. I do that all the time.
Or if you're a skinny
I do that all the time, and I'm like some office fairy. I mean, I do drink the Freddo cappuccino as well. If you don't know, Freddo cappuccino is basically like whipped milk, foamy milk on top. So therefore, a cappuccino-esque.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just every now and then I would get a feeling that I wanted to get a Freddo cappuccino, but it's something about the whole foaminess. It doesn't really mix with the coffee like a regular warm cappuccino.
I know.
So I was just like, no, it's either Freddo espresso, get like that cold iced black coffee, no sugar, strong, wakes you up and you have all the aromas. You can really feel the coffee beans, especially in the neighborhood that I was living in. I would love to just find those coffee spots when I was in Athens where they really had like single origin menus and you could just pick and choose. Is it like Colombia? Are we doing Kenya? Maybe some Venezuela today. Costa Rica was my fave because I like the fruitiness in the morning time. And then in the afternoon time, I would grab, you know, another African one because I would feel like those are like more earthy. So yeah, I would do that kind of thing. It's more that I don't really care about the effect, honestly, because I try to keep my dosage to before noon so I can fall asleep.
Okay, you did it for the delicacy of it.
100%.
Bro.
100%.
I try, like, okay, I can do that. If you catch me having an espresso next to something, then yeah, okay, I'm doing it for the little delicacy moment of it. Although most times, literally all the times besides that, then I am doing it strictly for an energy boost kind of thing to give my life purpose, if you want to put it like that.
Give my life purpose.
To have some sort of motivation to keep going because, okay, I still have one more. Today I've had 2 cups. Instant coffee, I don't care. I like the drugstore effect. I know.
Oh my god.
I'm not doing it for the delicacy. I'm doing it for the compensation of drugs, basically.
No, I can hear that.
I want to quit it though. I want to be so pure and so fairy that like not even coffee enters, not even this caffeine kind of thing.
Well, you're gonna have to quit more than that. No coffee, no sugar, no milk, no gluten, no, I don't know what else.
No, I believe in certain things. Bread, love bread. Have some bread I'm gonna eat after this, actually. With sesame seed on top.
Speaking of, because that's the thing. Me, when I go to brunch, which honestly, I'm more of a home brunch person. I have an issue going to a place and paying 15 to 20 euros for an avocado toast that isn't even that nice. It just...
Bro, avocado toast is never nice. Just saying. I just have to get it out.
You know what?
It's never good.
I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Honestly... It's so pretentious, and it's like, oh my god, sourdough with avocado smashed. Like, I love guacamole, I love bread, I love avocado, but like, this toast that they keep doing, no.
It needs to stop.
Get it away from me.
It needs to stop.
It needs to stop.
Yeah, I don't know why it got stuck because it's so much better when you make it at home. When I make it at home, I put like a fat piece of a nice sourdough bread, make sure to put proper olive oil on it, you know, roast it, preferably a little bit charred on the grill, a little bit of smoked salt, smash my avocado, lots of lime, just some chili on top. I often don't even season the avocado because I want it to be as clean as possible and then just have it like that. Sometimes I might make an egg on the side, but I am all for the pure avocado flavor. I don't want to see none of that crumbled feta cheese on top. I don't want to see any salmon on top. I don't want to see anything besides a few chili flakes or fresh chili on top. There is nothing else that I deem acceptable on an avocado toast because the whole purpose of me actually going and paying for this is that I'm supposed to get avocado. And most of the time, I don't get that. It has to be sprinkled with some other to basically allow the price that they're taking. That's how I feel about it. Because if you give me eggs, anything, eggs Benedict, scrambled eggs, whatever other eggs, even tofu scramble, whatever other topping you might put on that sandwich, I'm fine with paying for brunch on it. But an avocado toast, and in that situation, I actually might opt for a tea or another type of drink because I feel like coffee, it clashes too much with anything that is a delicacy, as you say. It shouldn't overtake the flavor of whatever you're eating. So I usually save my coffee for after I'm done with the food and do a nice finisher, like a typical, Mediterranean person. You have your after food coffee. That's my vibe.
Okay, I think in terms of coffee here, I would probably have it as a part of the sort of continental part of brunch. I have to admit though, I've never been to brunch in my entire life.
What?
I know.
Okay.
I worked in a brunch kitchen, so I made brunch food every Saturday, Sunday, and even Fridays in Berlin for almost a year. So I definitely been there, and we made eggs Benedict all the time.
Yeah.
We did not have avocado toast.
Thank Lord for that restaurant.
Let me just tell you, we never dealt with that. We had pancakes, we had brioche kind of sandwich, and the big seller was, of course, eggs Benedict, and the best one was the one for me with bacon. I couldn't have it without, or I wasn't into it without bacon. That didn't really concern me. However, it was, like I said, that made sense as a brunch, and that meal or this meal was very worthy as a brunch thing. But I think for me to have really enjoyed the brunchness of it, it needed to be a full-on continental kind of thing where you start with you have the juice, you have the coffee, you have a little bit, things can go in a way. I think as well, when you don't drink, I don't know where I would place myself at a brunch, if that makes sense. It's not like I have friends who do brunch anyways, so it's not a very relevant concern. But I think now that I actually am sober, that maybe, I would have enjoyed to go to brunch one time and just make it sort of a continental, if that makes sense. More than a festive event, which it seems to be.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm not even sure what it is with brunch. I know it was trending a few years ago. It was all the hype. All these brunch places started popping up, and I like the idea of it. One thing that I had a difficulty with in Greece when living there and whenever I would have the idea to go for brunch, because for me, I like it. On a Sunday, when you want to sleep in a little bit, you don't feel like having your breakfast at the normal time, and that's why you choose to go outside, but it's still a little bit early. You're having a little walk and you want to grab something to eat, but it's technically not lunchtime. That's what I think brunch actually is for. So whenever that situation happens, I'm the type of person that wants to still eat breakfast things for lunch. So for me, a breakfast thing would be porridge. It would be some type of granola with yogurt or something. These types of dishes, let's say, weren't that easy to find, I would say. In Greece, you do have spots to just get literally yogurt with honey and nuts. And I love that. I mean, I love the fact that in most places, whenever you go, they have a bowl of fresh fruit that you can get with yogurt. For me, that's amazing stuff, but I still want things to be fresh. So I'm not really the type of person maybe that would go for pancakes, eggs on toast with, I don't know, French toast, which also, in my humble opinion, incredibly overrated. I mean, there has been maybe a couple of times that I have had a French toast that I thought was like, okay, this is something I would order again. Otherwise, for me, mostly, I think it's these dishes where you really put the egg forward and cook the egg in a really nice way, or have some nice, fresh salad as well. I love me like a salad with some type of aged ham, a little bit of figs, a nice sauce, or any salad that involves blue cheese of any sort with pear. You know, these things that you also wouldn't eat if you want a heavier meal, but you would, take a few different lighter things and combine them. Of course, as you say, together with someone. Because it's like very random. Like, who would go out for brunch just on their own and have 5 dishes? No one.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, like no one. I mean, I wish.
I know, but it's like, I go out and eat alone. I don't mind because sometimes it's like, you just gotta.
Yeah, but brunch.
Yeah, I know. That's different because it's like an event. That's what I mean. The whole thing is very eventy compared to, for example, just getting something quick at like a place where you stop by, or even less so. Even a cafe, I would say, is even more socially acceptable to be alone. But a brunch is like, you can't do that alone because it's a whole event. It's a whole thing of itself to go there as a group almost.
In a sense, it's interesting that you bring it up because I feel like brunch, as you say, is more of a social occasion. But in my lifestyle, I think it's one of the most glorious ways to enjoy your weekend. So for me, if you have people over for brunch and you get some nice baked goods and you make perfect eggs and you can enjoy a coffee or 2 or even 3 and you just sit and talk and you can move from one room to the other, head out to the balcony, head out and then head inside. And, you just have this whole hours long kind of socialization. And I love that, and I think that's the point of it. But I do think that it's also an age thing, that it's like people in their 20s. Everything needs to be a performance. Everything needs to be photographed. Because let's be real, a few times you're making me think, the times that I've had brunch that I really did not enjoy, it was usually with people who are more busy taking photos and making it, as you say, into an event rather than purely enjoying the food, which is my vibe. I'm there to get lost in the flavors.
This is genuinely how I feel about brunch. That it's like, it feels so performative and very like Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Which is like, in of itself, kind of a performance way to be in a city, and that's fine. We all have that little Carrie Bradshaw occasionally. But
for sure,
this is the thing. When I think of brunch, I never think of the actual food.
Yeah.
Sure, when I worked in that kitchen, it was like kind of different because then you don't really think about the brunch in of itself. And it wasn't like a place that was very brunchy. They just had sort of brunch food, and then you can combine it with like a drink on Sundays for like a discount or whatever. So like they had a brunch vibes, but it wasn't necessarily that it was like a whole thing and people came there for hours to drink. It was just kind of like an option, so to say. But I think the whole thing with me and brunch is that it seems more like an event. How I don't really care about going to a club. I only do it if like somebody else would do it and I would be invited, and like that would be in my circle in a way. The same thing is about a brunch. And I think of both things in the same way. Going to the club is like an event. You like get together, you get what you need in order to get through the night, or you get with the people to do it. And the same thing I will think of in brunch. If you have friends who like to go brunch, then you will go brunch. I don't have friends who go to brunch, so therefore I don't go to brunch. But yeah, I do too think of it more as an event and more as of a performance thing than an actual food experience. And I'm sure that it started off differently. I'm sure that in one way or another, it was meant to be sort of a delicacy of things. And you had a little champagne mixed with orange juice. Perfect, right? But I feel like if I hear people going to brunch now, I immediately just associate it with how you would go to the club. Like, okay, you go there to meet some friends to get some up and have fun. I don't see it as in a way that you go there to experience the taste of these flavors and to
I mean, look,
find the best eggs Benedict of the city.
that's a very me thing, I think, because I'm the type of person that whenever I go and eat with someone, people usually have a moment where they get confused if it's the first time, and they just see my whole facial expression, and they're not sure if I started ignoring them while they're talking, like, because I stop answering essentially. If you catch me eating while you're trying to tell me something, and it's something that, just hits my senses, or I sip something like the first sip of coffee, as I told you, or the first sip of a wine, just don't expect me to be able to focus on what you're talking to me about at the same time as I'm experiencing the flavors. But, and afterwards I usually apologize and I'm like, oh, sorry, like I totally zoned out for a second. This was so delicious. Did you taste that? You want to taste it? I'm that kind of person. So yeah, don't bring me if you just want to eat some trash meal for the entertainment of it, because then I'm going to be very disappointed no matter, who is there with me, essentially. Because that's why I'm saying I don't see the point of going to a place, paying like hundreds of euros for what? For us to sit together and enjoy some trash food? Like, hell no. I'm not doing that. But I totally understand what you're saying with the whole, it's more of a hotel vibe thing as well. It feels like something that is maybe not necessarily part of our age gap. I feel like people in their 20s, first of all, who has time and can afford to go and grab brunch nowadays? As you said, grabbing a mimosa or a Bloody Mary, that's already going to pull you back 20, 25 euros. Okay, so that's just a drink. If you're going to get a coffee, that's another 10. If you're going to get a main dish, that's another 20. Like we're up at 50, 55, 60, depending on where you go. And then it just adds up. So if you're going to get together like 5, 6 girlies and you're just a regular ass worker person, then yeah, what's the point of doing it? And also with this whole abundance, I feel like people are also heading more into an era of being a little bit more frugal with food and understanding that, first of all, it's expensive, but second of all, we care about our health. Like, who wants to go and be completely full and drunk? It does sound nice and very Carrie Bradshaw, as you say, to get just, drunk before noon and have like 3 stacks of pancakes. But I feel like that's a very over consumeristic American vibe that for some reason got trendy for a while, but now people are like kind of over it and feel like let's just, feel fresh. Who wants to feel like a chicken nugget after lunch? I don't think, with this whole hash browns, because that's also a very American or British thing. Having a whole English breakfast. I'm not in the vibe of feeling heavy in the morning. I want to feel fresh. So anyone that's going to get me to feel like a chicken nugget before 12 o'clock, don't bring me. That's how I feel about it. I think this is definitely a type of consumption event or holiday, because coming from a little bit of a French school background, I hung out with a lot of French people. We both lived in Greece and we know how it is. People don't have breakfast. They already technically go and have so-called brunch, but that was breakfast, at 10, 11 o'clock. Because who eats before that unless you're this whole capitalist worker type person? So I don't feel like maybe in those cultures you technically needed to have a word for it. But obviously it's more marketable if you can find another name for an extra occasion, which grants you the need to pay a little bit more for something.
The thing is, I don't understand why you would do it if you are in a lower class. And it's like, I'm not in a high class myself. I'm not a very posh person. But I just don't see the appeal of these things unless you're feeling kind of performative and that you want to fit into these circles. I just don't see it as something. I see it as like not a cultural appropriation. But like, why would you want to be in these circles if you aren't a part of those circles already? If you want to like level up in life to get there, to go to these events and to be that kind of person that do go to these events, then okay, sure, I get it. Although in of itself, brunch is more of a posh thing, which again, if that's your cup of tea, then that's your cup of tea. But it is kind of coming together with like a clash, like a class sort of thing, I think.
No, sure, I can definitely understand. But you still can see that people of all cultures, again, have met around food. The fact, like, I don't know if you've ever had a Turkish breakfast, but me and my roommate, when I was living in Greece, one of my roommates was from Izmir, and they have some lit food in Turkey. Some really good stuff. And they're famous for having a Turkish breakfast, which is a little bit as what you're describing, like a continental breakfast. But the difference is that with continental breakfast, again, you have more of these Western foods. Whereas the Turkish breakfast, you have some nice pastries, some nice bread. You have lots of different cheeses, olives, fresh vegetables. We would go and grab from the fresh food market stuff the day before. So we would go together and get whatever is on season: watermelon, strawberries, mint, parsley, always some chopped onion, some cucumber, some, what do you call it? Those like pickles, of different spicy pickles, carrot pickles, whatever pickles. You would get some cold cuts maybe that are really nice. So you would get all these things, and of course make the eggs, very important. You have to have the eggs. And you would just spend time eating it. And we would sit on our balcony for legit 3-4 hours, just chatting, drinking chai, eating, and chatting and drinking chai. And she was so happy about it because it reminded her of her city and sitting and doing that together with her family and friends. Because that's just the way that you hang out and go through what happened during the week, process, laugh, and enjoy spending your time. So I totally understand that it's like a class thing as you see it, maybe from the more Western perspective. But I really think that it's just something, again, that has always existed, but then needed to be packaged in order to be sellable into a product.
Okay, but this is the thing now. It's like sellable and then it becomes the competition. And this is where I clash with brunch myself, or why I'm not necessarily so into or like think about it that much, because I think of it more as, yes, as you say, it's a gathering and it's a reason to gather. But it feels more to me that this is a gathering of, again, bringing up this thing with clubs, in really cool clubs. Oh, there's only the cool people, and they basically stab to get there. And the same with brunch. Like, oh, it's the most,
100%.
I'm not saying this about everyone, like my sister brunches, my roommate brunches, is out on brunch right now.
Yeah.
I know people who brunch, so it's not like to comfort them in this way.
Yeah.
But I do essentially think that it's the same thing. It's like this social elitism sort of things that you also see in clubs. And if you're into that, that's fine. Your social climbing has always been a thing and it always needs to be. But I don't see brunch being... There's like something missing there. There's like a continentalness. If there was a continental delicacy and art of it, then maybe I would be more into it. But that's just not the direction we're moving into anymore. And like you said earlier, with this thing of being more self-sustainable and being a little bit more cautious of what you eat, and also taking into consideration today's world and the age that we're in and how things are going, brunch is a little bit like not on top of that list for me. Then it's a little bit like then it gives Hunger Games vibes. The rich people there. But I'm sure it's fun because the Hunger Games people on the top, they did a lot of fun stuff. Like I said, it's fun to be excessive in this way, and I totally get the want for that lifestyle. I just don't feel like I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, we're gonna have an episode where we talk about that Italian-French movie that I suggested to you on this topic of excess and consumerism. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. But I hear you. I definitely hear you, and I agree Because from what it sounds like, we are both on the side of brunch is very passé and definitely not something that needs to be included. It had its period of glory, but now it's more of a sad, desperate attempt of getting into the nicer spheres of the hierarchy, social hierarchy in society. If I get you right.
It's like bloody in a way. There's something kind of bloody with it. But I get your point of view as well about going there and just get like super into the food and super in tune with the whole thing, because it's objectively a nice Sunday activity, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's more, or not, but then how it comes across, the execution of it ends up a lot of times being like bubbles and sparkles. Maybe we're just overreacting. Maybe it actually is just people chilling.
Honestly,
maybe they're just chilling.
I think that it's definitely just chilling in most of the scenarios as I have experienced it. But then again,
I'm just hating. I'm sorry, you did not convince me. I will keep hating. No, actually, I would love to try it once. I'm gonna say that. Just because I need to understand. I need to see it from that perspective, but I think I always would I always prefer to be on the kitchen side of things. Even the other day when we had a guest over to make food, and I always go hide in the kitchen. Because I think it's, that's where I shine or whatever. But I don't know. I would definitely work for a brunch place again. All hate aside, that's true. I would go to work for another brunch place again, just because it's kind of a vibe. The only thing that sucks about it is that you have to work during the weekends. But then again, it's not like I'm doing that much during the weekends anyways. And the tips is great. The brunch people tip great.
Yes.
That I will give them. They tip incredible.
Yes.
The amount of tips, I lived off those tips during the week, like everything else that I got from a salary from that place. That was rent and bills and whatever, like this. But what I actually spent during a week, drugs included, was thanks to tips.
Yes, brunch tips. Consequence thinking at the lowest.
For real. So I was like, yeah, okay, I could just stay in the kitchen side of things when it comes to brunch, but I don't know, maybe I just haven't found the crowd yet to go to brunch with.
I definitely think it's something that at least I prefer to do at home as well, just because of quality aspects, but I don't know. Maybe at some point I get to know a place that I feel like is worth it. But this far, I haven't, unfortunately, found it, at least here in Stockholm. I'm sorry to say. I think it's way too expensive. And what we can at least agree on after this whole episode is that we are saying goodbye to the avocado toast. Anyone serving an avocado toast on their menu, I don't know what to say, honestly.